Welcome back, saucers.
Welcome back.
Another day.
Another day, another fucked up story.
Well,
Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, thanks for sticking with us. But we're passionate about, talking about things that are fucked up. But
we're passionate.
bringing light to justice.
Yes.
And to senseless murders by the police to the Black community. And if you've been living under a rock, let us tell you about what happened earlier this month. On February 2nd, police entered a Minneapolis apartment just before 7 a.m. on a no-knock warrant in connection with a January homicide in St. Paul. According to the Minneapolis Police Department, the MPD, and this is very important that I say according to the MPD, their incident report, the SWAT team went to two apartments on the 14th floor before gaining entrance to the unit on the 7th by using a fob, which, first of all, horrifying that they had a fob.
Yeah,
fob,
what?
And loudly announcing their presence. They said approximately 9 seconds into the entry, officers entered a male who was armed with a handgun pointed in the direction of the officers. And that was like the initial press release that they gave. At one point, shots were fired and the adult male suspect was struck. Officers immediately provided emergency aid and carried the suspect down to the lobby to meet paramedics. This man was identified as 22-year-old Amir Locke. So we're going to tell you a little bit about Amir. He was an aspiring musician who was planning to move to Dallas later this month to launch his hip-hop career and live closer to his mother. He filed paperwork to launch a music business. And like
22 years old.
Yeah. And I said this in our interview that's coming out next week with Dulce Rico, but it's one of those things where it's like, he doesn't have to have all these accomplishments to be an important person. Like, he was a human young man. Like,
yeah,
he was only 22. Like, 22. You're still.
And this is what people always go to. And okay, what you're meaning is, I mean, it's just messed up by nature. People always go, oh my gosh, and he didn't have anything on his record. His record was clean. He didn't even.
Right.
They start listing these things off that
like it
honestly
matters.
Don't matter. They don't matter at all, because if he had a previous record, who the fuck cares? He's at home in his apartment with a legally owned weapon for self-protection.
It's the same thing. It's like the Kyle Rittenhouse too. They're like, because one of the people that he shot was I think had a convicted pedophile, which is like, yeah, not like we wanted a fucking pedophile around anyway.
Right.
But like, and they were like, oh, the left, the libs are pissed that he killed a pedophile. What, we're protecting pedophiles? I'm like, that is not the fucking point. Like, the fact that we have to like break down what they've done. So like, to prove that you can't be shooting people willy-nilly in a street.
When it doesn't even matter. It doesn't prove anything, because these things happen.
Know that?
No. And then it's like
that.
Breonna Taylor 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we're at the same police department. So then it's like, oh, we're gonna revisit these no-knock warrants, and like, we're gonna make sure 2 years go by and the same exact thing happens with no other regulations in place, no difference. Now another family of another 20-something is left to pick up the pieces of this shit that is not, there's no efforts being made. There's no efforts being made, and that's why reform that everyone's calling for is not the answer. It's not going to do anything, because reform is redistributing.
Reform the police, like that?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, reform the police versus abolishing the police. And what I think people don't, what I know people don't understand, because I hear abolish the police and like, what? You just want like a lawless, like, that everyone's going to go crazy and there's no rhyme or reason. There's no rule. That's not what it actually means. It's redistributing these duties, that it all falls on the police department when there's mental health resources, there are hospitals, there are therapists and counselors. There's all these people that are better equipped to handle a lot of situations. And this doesn't have to do with Amir's situation. That was a no-knock warrant, but I guess I'm just going into now like abolishing the police.
But it's like,
That's what that is. It's not, there would be a system in place to handle all these situations still. It just wouldn't be heavily armed policemen with like indoctrined into racism with no training for mental health situations with basically just acting with impunity.
Well, let's like also the context of this too. Like, so basically the prosecutors, the Ramsey County prosecutors, filed a second-degree murder charge against a 17-year-old in connection with a St. Paul homicide investigation, which was the basis for the search warrant. So they were looking for a 17-year-old in that apartment that Amir was sleeping in, which is also like learning that they were there, guns a-blazing, all of these police. I don't know. I can't remember how many. It was a lot.
Yeah.
No, just fucking barging into these both because we went into two apartments, barging in for a fucking a child, a 17-year-old. It's not even like you're not getting fucking El Chapo. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're getting a 17-year-old. So what happened is that, and his name is Mackay Speed, and he's Amir's cousin. And then Mark Hanneman, he is a member of the eight people in the SWAT team that came in. He's one that fired at Amir, striking him 3 times, twice in the chest and once in the right wrist, according to their police report. And why we keep saying according, right? According to their incident report, because can you believe these motherfuckers lied? I can.
No way. Oh my God, what?
Because they first, in their incident report, kept talking about how, oh, well, he had the gun. This guy had the gun pointed at us. There was talks about like he might have fired a shot or two. Sorry. So the body cam footage eventually came out, showing the inconsistencies with that police report. The video shows police entering the apartment, announcing their presence only when they have already entered. Great. Once in the apartment, one officer kicks in the couch where Amir was sleeping, prompting him to obviously wake up. He was confused. He was scared. He was startled. He was wrapped in a white blanket, and you can see Amir holding a gun. And I say you can see, but this is a report about someone that actually seen it, because I can't bring myself to do it.
Yeah.
Amir holding a gun, though it does not appear to be pointed at any officers in the frame, nor does it seem that Rock even knew he was being surrounded by police. So like
he just woke up to this.
He's like half a fucking sleep. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on. And he's getting yelled at by, he probably can't even see.
Right. No,
and he didn't even have a gun.
Adjusted.
He didn't even have the gun pointed at them. And they fucking said in the incident report that the gun was pointed at them, and that's why they shot. He didn't even have the gun pointed at them. It's enough just to see a young black man have a gun in his presence at all for them to feel fear. That is it. That is the baseline.
But even that, he doesn't need to have a gun.
No, true.
Been shot for like, oh, it was Skittles. Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
His hoodie was up. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't even matter. And it's like, how are you, like, I think like parents, especially white parents of older generations, where it's like, well, but they shouldn't have these okay, if your kids, if young white males, which in what world is this, were being targeted, would you encourage your son? You knew that no-knock warrants were happening. People are just literally walking in and shooting kids that look like your kid for no other reason other than they look like your kid, with and not being punished for it. If you know that as a parent, and your kid legally obtains a weapon, learns how to use, and just for their own protection because this shit is happening, are you going to tell them, no, you shouldn't do that? Because what I hear a lot of white people saying is, well, why did he even have a gun? Well, why should he even have, of course they're going to think, I mean, where have you been? These things happen with zero weapons involved anyway. So why it was intelligent, like critical thinking, or educated. I mean, of course he should have a gun.
Yeah.
Like he needs to have a gun because he's being targeted by this entire country.
100%. And it's just so fucking sad It's just the fact is, you brought it up before, like the fact that all these patterns, it's the same thing that happened with Brianna, and we can go over the Brianna thing too because that's important. Um, uh, we'll go into Brianna later, but there's so many things that are wrong that happened there, obviously, and the no-knock warrant is a part of that. Amir's parents, like we said, confirmed that he had a legal firearm, that he did his research, it was legal, it was all fine. And his father spoke out in a press saying, "It hurt me to see my son executed. He never got a chance to get the cover off of his head. He was startled. He did what any reasonable law-abiding citizen would do, white or black. We're not against police officers. We just want accountability." And it's like the fact that he has to even say
the fact that he could say that and even had to have that level of grace when you just your son was just murdered in cold blood by a system that is designed to do so.
Yeah.
And you can have the presence of mind to even say that. I'm just like
I'm like what, like, did he, the fact that he might feel scared to not mention we're not against police officers, like that, the fact that he has to say that in order to be like, please do your due diligence in holding these officers accountable, because otherwise, like, you're just gonna paint me as gonna
have people after him and his wife and his like other family members now, and it's like,
and he's mourning his child.
Yeah.
And it's so Mayor Fry announced that the city would be pausing all no-knock warrants to allow for a thorough review of the MPD practice. The review will reportedly be headed by Professor Pete Kraska and DeRay McKesson, both of whom helped craft Brianna's Law, which helped outlaw no-knock warrants in Louisville, where she was killed.
Because she wasn't, I said that earlier, it wasn't the same police department. Obviously, this was like, in a different, but these
George
warrants,
Floyd died. Yeah. I mean, George Floyd, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz issued a statement supporting a potential review of the policy. Okay. We'll see.
Right, a potential review of the policy. I'm sorry, when you review policies when they're being made, and then as society evolves and things change and you need to revisit laws, that's when you review policies. When someone's been murdered because of a policy that allows it, you don't review the policy.
Yeah.
You don't put this policy on hold while we look into it. How many times are we going to hear that? We're looking into it.
Well, it's the same thing. It's like, when Gabby Petito went missing, and there was this like thing about like, we need to obviously like find her and get that. But it's the fact that like there's so many Black children that are missing all of the time, and we don't say anything about it. It's the same thing here. It's like Black kids are dying. We don't give a fuck.
Right.
We don't give a fuck.
Right.
And you'd think it'd be surprising, but it's not. I mean, like,
and the answers, the things that you hear. I mean, I said this, I guess, but like going back, you either hear, well, he should have had protection on him because that's why how many like red-blooded Americans, well, that's why I have my guns. So this okay, so he does have one, and this happens. But then because he has one, then it's like, well, it's because he had a gun, and of course they thought that he was.
We'll get you. Oh, we're gonna get into that. But this is so reminiscent, obviously, like we're saying, of Breonna Taylor's case. And to remind you of what happened there, her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, exited the bed, retrieved a gun, and fired one shot upon hearing someone barge into their apartment. He told authorities he thought it was her ex-boyfriend breaking in. The police responded, shooting Brianna 5 times. She was sleeping. Kenneth Walker, her boyfriend, was subsequently charged with attempted murder, though that was ultimately dismissed in May 2020. He also had a license to carry. Brianna's boyfriend. So it's just so fucking interesting that like you're gonna be silent. We're gonna talk about Philando Castile, but like that's another moment of someone that had a legal firearm, but it doesn't matter because they're gonna be shot at. Their girlfriend's gonna be killed. You're gonna be killed. It doesn't matter because you are a Black man with a gun.
Exactly.
At the end of the day. There is this story that I have to tell, and I got really emotional reading it for the first time because it was like it's partly obviously like. The story is just so fucking sad. A, I didn't know about the story at all. B, and C, I didn't even know that this was a thing. this law. So there was this young man, Andrew Coffey. Have you heard about him at all?
No.
So he's from Gifford, Florida. And he was recently, like November, October of 2021, acquitted of murdering his 21-year-old girlfriend, Alteria Woods. But no one, including the state, said that he shot her. He didn't shoot her, okay? Deputies with the Indian River County Sheriff's Office shot her 10 times during a raid that targeted Andrew's father and his possible possession of narcotics. They came in, guns fucking blazing, because they thought his dad had cocaine, right? And she was sleeping in his room, Alteria. Andrew opened fire after cops threw a flashbang grenade into his room and smashed his window. Andrew told the court he was asleep at the time the SWAT team arrived. He woke up and thought he was being robbed. The state charged him with attempted murder of a law enforcement officer, along with the felony murder of Alteria, a controversial rule that allows the government to charge someone else with a homicide that they didn't carry out if it took place during a related offense. So even though he didn't shoot, his girlfriend did. It was the police. They charged him with her murder because it's his fault that they were shooting in the first place. Isn't that fucking disgusting?
Wow.
Isn't that disgusting?
See, imagine if that law goes both ways. Well, the reason I was firing was because you ran into my, like,
yeah, they threw
if he actually killed. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is so twisted. And they're upheld. These laws are upheld and don't get overturned. And then Roe versus Wade is being questioned.
Fucking forget it. Yeah, they're pro-life, all right.
Right.
Yeah, pro-Christian babies' lives, white baby lives. It's just so disgusting. And I'm like, how did this not get traction in the media? It's just so sad this boy had to spend any fucking time in jail. He had to watch his fucking girlfriend be shot and then get charged with her murder, and her family was fighting for him to get released.
Yeah, of course.
I think so he was acquitted of the murder, but I think he had the gun was illegal that he used to shoot at the police. Yeah, I think that's charges still coming through. Like, I think they're still trying to like sentence him for that or charge him for that. That's still going on, but his lawyers are doing well. I just think it's just so fucking disgusting that happens at all. So maybe like also brush up on the laws in your fucking state, because that's disgusting that you can be fucking charged for murder that you did not commit. That is the epitome of shame and just disgust in this country. I mean, like, we can't seriously, like, we talk about this all the time. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, well, we mentioned, I mean, the NRA has been completely silent in almost all deaths involving the killings of legally armed Black people. Yeah. No comment. Nothing.
Zero. They have yet to this day on Friday the 11th. That's when we're recording this. It this airs the 21st, so it might have changed. Maybe double check. But as we're recording this, nothing. And you know what? I went on their Instagram, their Twitter yesterday or this morning. I can't remember. And you know what they were posting about?
What?
Fuck mask mandates, get our country back to normal. That's what they fucking want to talk about. That's what they want to talk about. COVID not being real. That's what they want to talk about. Like, and getting rid of mask mandate. That's their fucking
they're quick
NRA.
To speak. Like, yeah, what? The NRA. They're quick to speak on gun issues when someone criticizes them, but literally legally armed Black people.
American citizen. Yeah. He's an American citizen that has a legally armed. Why are you not defending Amir here? What is
exactly?
What is it? Because they were also silent during Philando Castile. They didn't say anything for the longest time. I think it wasn't until 2017 when then spokesperson Dana Lash said that the NRA declined to defend Philando at first because, quote unquote, he had marijuana in his car at the time of his death. That was why. There was extenuating circumstances, they said.
Wow.
Oh, so having weed makes it okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, got it.
But like the
I
atrocities of Kyle Rittenhouse, let me just say.
fucking
This is like makes me
exactly.
want to like
No
crawl out of my
fucking
skin
way.
and
Because
just
if it was, a libertarian who has his weed and he's speeding and he has a gun and he was shot by a police officer, you would be literally up in arms.
yeah.
Like, get fucked. You're so. It's just so. Like they think we're stupid. Like the fact that that's how hypocritical and disgusting they are. The only people that did speak out is the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus, which is like great. So if it's going to be anybody, at least it's the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus. And they were formed in 2015. They said Mr. Locke did what many of us might do in the same confusing circumstances. He reached for a legal means of self-defense while he sought to understand what was happening.
Yeah.
We've the Minnesota Gun Owners Caucus, been disappointed with the NRA and other groups that aren't willing to take a stand when an innocent gun owner is killed. That's the exact reason why we exist. And they also condemned the killing of Philando Castile at the time, the time too. And it's like, I am for responsible gun ownership. I was raised in a house with responsible gun ownership. I know what that looks like and how it's possible. However, I think that there should be strict laws in place to make sure people are of sound mind and body.
Yes.
Have a gun. I think it should be hard to get, I don't think it should be the easiest thing
and I don't think it should be a one-time you take a test or that your mental state is, checked on once and then you own a gun for decades. Like these things.
Yeah. Should be hard. Like there was that school shooting that happened not long ago. Oh God, I think, was it in Florida? Where he got it from his parents.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And the parents are being charged now. It's just like, these parents are fucking not there. Like the teachers were telling the parents, like, your kid is literally writing stories or drawing like disturbing images of killing people. And then they're like, oh, that's crazy.
And then the fact that when, like, right when it was happening, I think the mom, it was like
don't get caught.
Like it was in real time. It was happening. I don't know if the mom had, like, someone had, I don't know how she knew, but she texted her son.
Oh yeah.
Right before. Yeah. And was like, don't do it. Meaning you already knew in your mind that was an actual possibility. And the second you hear something, you're like, oh, I know what he's doing. Why would you go there?
Yep. Another shout out to the NRA's Twitter. The day that Amir Locke was murdered, day, February 4th, the day, they tweeted, and I won't post this on our thing because it's disgusting, but if you want to look at it, go to their Twitter. I'm sure it's there. They have no shame. They tweeted, I don't know if you can see the tweet on your end.
I see it. I'm like, it's 2 days after this happened though, right? Because it happened February 2nd.
Oh, my bad. Okay, yeah, 2 days.
But yeah, 2 days after.
2 days after. Like with everything in the media about like the senseless killing of Amir. They post this Daily Mail article. Teen charged with shooting NYPD cop in custody for violating probation. Cameron Williams, 16, who allegedly shot an MPD cop in Bronx last month, is back in custody just 1 week after posting bail. It's like, and it's a picture of this young boy.
He looks like 14.
Holding a gun, making him look like a complete like criminal. Obviously, that's the narrative they want to push. He's a boy, and they tweet, "Dear Joe Biden, like criminals walk, same criminals commit more crimes. Come on, Pan. Okay, take fucking Kyle Rittenhouse off the fucking streets. Why the fuck can't Cameron Williams? Cameron Williams didn't kill anybody. I read this fucking article. Cameron Williams killed nobody. He shot someone in the leg. Who? I don't give a fuck. Kyle Rittenhouse killed people, and he's on the streets, and you're
intentionally.
Intentionally, exactly. Premeditated,
intentional. Like
I'm tired of this shit. You want to make him your messiah, this, Kyle Rittenhouse, but Cameron Williams, and this is getting 2 days.
Getting offered internships with these Republican politicians, being brought up on stage at these rallies. I'm sorry, what?
It's disgusting. Like
it really is.
Anyway, but all of this is just basically a whole not melting pot, or just what's the word that I
Clusterfuck.
want? An clusterfuck. Thank you.
Amalgamation.
Fine. Amalgamation of the racism in our country, the history of racist gun control and the gun rights movement in general. Like, it is really interesting how racist and how this goes back so far. And these are things that I didn't even know about. Like, let's just put it this way. The first gun control group in the U.S. was created in response and fear to the formerly enslaved people having legally owned firearms. But who are they, Molly?
The what?
KKK. The KKK.
Oh, the KKK, yeah.
The KKK was the first gun control fucking...
which is also linked to then the Texas Rangers, which grows into the police departments, but actually came from slave catchers. People literally whose job was to chase down slaves and kill them, becomes these structures that we have nowadays.
Yep. They would use the force of law to disarm Black communities. And because whites, back in that day, still now, they're the majority, because whites outnumbered freedmen, the KKK established these things called black codes in their local governments around the country that made it illegal for freedmen to own a gun. So the federal government eventually stepped in and be like, no, they can have guns too. So what the KKK did in their local governments was tweak those laws to make cheap guns illegal. Basically, they would ban all the cheap and affordable ones that these freedmen would have access to, which is just so fucking ridiculous.
That is so disgusting.
And then Governor Ronald Reagan, so this is back in like the 50s early 60s, something like that. Ronald Reagan made the first push to support gun control laws after images of Black Panther members with guns circulated around the papers. And scared a whole lot of conservatives, let me tell you. So a bill was successfully pushed by conservatives to deny open carry that specifically targeted the Black Panther community. It's called the Mulford Act. This is just like another reason why we need CRT, why we need critical race theory taught in schools, because like, I would venture to say, I'm making a blanket statement, so shoot me. I don't, Jesus, or shoot me. I don't, whatever. I would venture to say that a lot of, in conservative families, white kids going to school, learning white history, would have no idea that, they're so against gun control laws, like everybody should have a gun, but do you know the racist background behind that and how that is all attributing to the deaths of Black people today, whether they have a gun legally or not? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because there's a history of just looking at a Black person and being scared for your life. And it doesn't matter.
And not even a person, a child as well.
Children, you can be a Black. Literally, that picture that I had to he looks like a little boy in that picture, and that's what they decide to fucking post 2 days after.
Yeah, he really looks. Actually, he looks like 11 or 12. He looks so young, not even 14.
And it's like, and then if you do have CRT, you're gonna learn about the social structures and like, why does he have a gun in the first place at 16? Why don't you talk about that? Why do you think is going on in his life and his community that he feels he needs to defend himself in that way? Why do you think he's afraid of cops? Right. NYPD? Fuck the NYPD.
Oh,
they are
my
a bunch of bitches. Like, they really are. I'm fucking...
I know. I literally...
no shit he's afraid of, you assholes. Like, and there's a video of you guys pushing down old men in the street.
Yeah.
That, like...
And then, like, as parents, like, would you... Knowing the way that our country works right now, as is, and you're a Black parent, would you not teach your children to be wary of and not trust the police? I sure as hell would make sure they know that they're not your friend. I would make sure they know that.
And this is fucking Black History Month. Like,
yeah. And so I'm just like sick of all these, like, the ignorance of people, and especially, of white people, of course, just like, oh, but well, I was raised to no, the cops are your friends. No, if you have a problem. And then you see these video, like there was a video that went viral like a year or two ago, but it was just a boy like playing basketball in his driveway. He's a black boy, and he was like, I don't know, 8. And it was just the house security camera that caught this. It wasn't like someone filming. And he's just playing outside and he's shooting, and he just sees a cop car like turn the corner, and he literally like instantly he throws the ball and he runs and he hides behind his parents' parked car at his own house, his own neighborhood, playing basketball outside his house, and he sees a cop car, and that is his first instinct. And then when white people look at that and they're like, but what? That's the problem. Like, see, they're gonna think you're running from something. Like, why are you? No,
Right.
No, like I would to have your child playing outside. Oh my God. Like
I love that the argument is like, well, that's the children's problem. Like put the onus on the fucking child that all they see in the news, all they see with their peers, and when their parents are warning them, all they see is I am bad. Me existing is automatically, the baseline is bad. So I need to be I don't know, wearing a fucking button-up polo shirt at all times with glasses. I need to have like, nope, don't wear a backpack.
I need to be
something could be in there.
as
Don't wear a hoodie. Something could be hiding in there. What is it? What can they
twice
wear?
as good, twice as clean, twice as smart, just to get a quarter, an eighth of the amount of the respect that any white person can get.
Yeah.
A homeless white person who people are, exactly.
And then we go back, and then we see Kyle Rittenhouse being celebrated in the streets, and he murdered.
Truly celebrated.
Fucking straight up, like,
not
TKO,
just got away
done.
with it, but honored and respected and celebrated. Not just, oh, he got away with it.
Right. Right. And like Tamir Rice.
Right.
Amir Locke. Trayvon like, I mean, I mean, like, how many men, women, like, holy shit, Breonna Taylor, like, how many people have to die before we have any sort of, like, the fact that they're only pausing the no-knock warrants. I mean, they should have already been, and I remember, and like, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that I read that Mayor Fry was reelected on the promise of getting rid of no-knock warrants.
Of course, because they're like, oh, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for reelection. What's the hot issue? Ooh,
yeah,
if
but
I
they don't really
this.
believe that shit, because they have, I'm sure they're in pockets. They have donors that have other.
They need the black vote. They need the, like, come on.
It's just,
it's appalling, and it is. Yeah, disgusting.
So hopefully there is justice.
Yeah. So
hopefully no-knock warrants are completely banished. Also, I hope the NRA fucks themselves and never gets an abortion. And I want abortions on to the NRA. I don't want any more. They're fucking themselves. That's the joke. They're fucking themselves.
I know. Following. I'm definitely following. I was just letting you finish. It's like, how far? Yeah, she's still going. Yeah, I get it. In this scenario,
it's like they fuck themselves and then they get themselves pregnant, and then I just want that baby to be aborted so that they don't have to rain their terror onto
exactly
anybody else. They are pieces of shit, and this is coming from someone that believes in responsible gun ownership, and I don't think they should be legal. I think there's too many in this country, 100%. But I
and they all belong to the military.
You are the devil. You are white devils.
Yes,
and
you are white devils. Yeah,
ACAB.
You are white devils. ACAB, and go fuck yourself.
We are
love you, Mom. Sorry, I'm saying this word.
We are at the SOS Pod on Instagram and Twitter. Oh, shout out to Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
If you don't know by now what Black Lives Matter is, go educate yourself. Go on
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. Have an abortion.
Shout out Planned Parenthood. Wow, we're just looping them all in here.
Shout out United We Dream. Shout out. Yes, shout out to Black Lives Matter. Please educate yourself, because like the Andrew Coffey thing blew my mind, and I'm so disappointed in myself that I didn't know about the law. I didn't know about that case. So I'm sure there are other Andrew Coffeys or other Amir Locks happening every day. So hopefully we can shed light to their story, and we can ban these no-knock warrants.
Yeah.
And ban the NRA.
Yeah, for real.
They made me crazy. And police, and defund the police. Again, we're at the SOS Pod on Instagram and Twitter. We are on
follow us, like us, subscribe us, leave a review, leave a. Tell us how much we hate America. Just try.
Yeah. I dare you. I fucking
dare you. Please. We're on YouTube as well. We're a little unhinged today. Sorry, everyone.
We're on YouTube. I mean, this is an unhinged story, so I mean, you should be as unhinged as we are. We're on YouTube, SOS Molly and Alyssa, so subscribe to us there. And rate and review us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you find your podcasts, we are there. And it helps us reach more people when you do rate and review us, so that's really helpful.
Yes.
And Patreon.
Patreon, please. $3 a month, $7 a month, or $11 a month. This will really help us out. We're expanding this year. We're growing. Like we say every time, there's bonus content, extended interviews. We'll have exclusive merch. There's actually a lot more content on there. So if you're a fan of us, which we like to think that you are, please support us.
Yeah. And also shout out to The Cut. They got a lot of the factual information for research for this episode. Billy Binton did a really good article for Reason.com. I'm going to be linking this in our show notes. And Ryan Grimm, he's he's on The Hill, but a reporter from The Hill. Yes. And he had this amazing YouTube video that actually outlined the racist history of the gun rights movement and gun control law. So he was really helpful in the research for this episode as well. So shout out to them. So search his video. It's really informative.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yep.
I'm Molly Cottrell.
I'm Melissa Rosano.
And here's to turning meltdown
into magic.